So now to take us to the main part of the program, we have somebody who's eating at the moment. I'm not sure what, but he definitely doesn't have a fear of eating. Please welcome Dr. Katrak.
Thank you. Sure. Sorry, 1 minute. Good evening, one and all. Sorry, our president is quite alert. He noticed that I was eating something. I didn't know I'll come on so soon. Okay, this is the first time I think. Almost we are 45 minutes down the meeting, so I'll have to cut short some of my talk. The theme, as you all know, today is fear factor. Coming up to the topic fear, I still recollect when Neha asked me whether I would be the Toastmaster of today. I said yes. And then she asked me, did you come up with any theme? So while I was watching television and I was thinking about the theme, the main door opened and my wife entered. 5 minutes later, I messaged Neha, the theme is fear factor. Now, Suchita, this is wrong. It means these are the things you all are just concluding that just because my wife came in, I put the thing. Actually, on the television, I was watching the program Fear Factor. That is the reason why I put the theme as Fear Factor, not because my wife came in. If my wife came in, the theme would have been even scarier. Okay. Now, coming to the theme, the definition. If you go to the Cambridge English Dictionary, the definition of theme of fear is an unpleasant emotional or thought that you have when you are frightened or worried or something dangerous, painful or bad is happening or might happen. Now, if the same definition is to be given by a person like me who speaks less, I would just say it is an unpleasant emotional caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm. Now, if Suchita is supposed to give the definition of fear, what would she say? Fear is a natural, powerful, and primitive human emotion. It involves a universal biochemical response as well as a high individual emotional response. Now, if I've got too many, but I need to cut them down. If Shannon is asked, what is the definition of fear? Shannon will go, I think it is getting scared. And last but not the least, if Toastmaster Bashir is asked, what is the definition of fear? Bashir will say, fear is life after marriage. So just like each one of us have a different definition of fear, each one of us have different fears. So during this meeting, I'm going to ask six. Six is a lucky number for a few. 6 questions to each of the role players and what they have to say about fear. All together, if we will try and help those who have fear to get away with them. And if there are some people who say they don't have fear, we'll make it a point that at the end of the meeting, they fear something or the other. Now, the 6 questions, I would like to go ahead and I will be the first person to answer those 6 questions. The first question is, what is your profession? So those of all who do not know me, I'm a consultant general and laparoscopic surgeon. I don't look like one, but believe me, you get operated by me and then you'll realize you're true. I'm not, and I don't look like one too. Then what is that one thing that you fear the most in your life? If you have to share more than one thing, it is okay. When I was a kid, believe me or not, I used to fear flowers and bananas. I used to not touch flowers or bananas. As I grew old, I started to fear, I had fear of failure. Don't misunderstand failure and defeat. It is not that I was fearing defeat. If I've given my best and have been defeated, I have no regrets. But I believe whenever I do, whatever I do has to be right. At times, it gives me a lot of stress, especially in my profession, where failures are accepted, but I unfortunately do not. Have you overcome these fears Yes, regarding the flowers, I started dating, I started giving flowers, and my fear for flowers went off. Regarding bananas, still I don't touch bananas, I don't eat bananas. And regarding failure, yes, I have improved. I have learned to chill a bit in life, but not everything. I don't take everything seriously like before. But when it comes to speeches and surgeries, still there's a long way to go. Have you ever screamed at the top of your voice out of fear in public? My answer is no. Have you wet yourself out of fear? The thing is, for that also, my answer is no, because I don't have much of fear, and on the stage, I'm not wet myself till now. And in the operation theater, if I wet myself, I always go to the loo before operating. So there also, I'm not wet myself. Has anyone ever told you that he, or that's the last question, is scared of you? If so, who? The thing is, my wife always, when we are with friends, she always says that she's scared of me. After she says that, there's a pin drop silence. And after a few seconds, there's a roar of laughter. I don't know why people don't believe it. Now, coming to the agenda for the day, there are two changes in the agenda. The Zoom master, Toastmaster Chitsimran, it is replaced by our daring Toastmaster Nishad, who always, I think one of the most scariest jobs to do is being a Zoom master. And the second thing is our treasurer is missing today. See, you're supposed to speak about something. During the beginning of the year, if the treasurer is missing, I don't think we should have any fears. But at the end of the year, when the budget and all the money is with him, I think each one of us should fear if the treasurer is missing. Now, today I'll start off by introducing the Zoom master, Toastmaster Nishad. I feel the job of a Zoom master is like that of a goalkeeper. He may do all the work which is good, but believe me, if he cannot share a slide, or if he cannot put up doing a lot of problems today, everyone will remember him. I asked the 6 questions to Nishad. The first one, he works as for an insurance company as an underwriter in motor parts. His fear is fear of something bad happening in life, and of course, fear of failure. He's got something common with me. Third question, has he overcome his failure? Still trying to overcome fear of failure. And did you scream at any time? Yes, during childhood. Question asked did you ever wet your pants? There's a big pause. And during the questionnaire, I'd said that if there's a pause, everyone will understand. You don't have to say yes. So whenever I say the pause means you get the answer. And is anybody scared of Nishad? Even before you answer, Nishad, we all know you. I don't think anyone is scared of you. You're such a nice, gentle person. After that, Nishad, thanks for all the work you are doing. We come to the timer today. That is Toastmaster Amina. Toastmaster Amina, can I have you on screen? Because I need you because I'll be communicating with you a little. Amina is a student. What she fears is losing someone you love and big cockroaches. Never met my first fear. That means she's a good said she's not lost anyone up till now and will never overcome the fear of cockroaches. Big cockroaches, she said. Amina, where are you?
Yeah.
Are you afraid of small cockroaches or only it is the big ones?
No, I'm disgusted by small cockroaches and afraid of big ones.
No, because the thing you should not be afraid is because the thing is, see, the big for cockroaches just fly around. So they may just disappear and fly away. And the small one also, see, the thing is that hardly you can see them. Only when they enter into your pant or your clothes, you feel them. Amina, can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
No. Do you like chocolates?
Yeah.
No. I'm trying to get your focus away from cockroaches. Do you know the FDA allows 60 parts of cockroaches per 100 grams of chocolate? It is officially allowed. So whenever you eat a crunchy chocolate, remember your friends around. See, this is after, at the end of the day, two things are going to happen. Either you're going to start loving cockroaches or you're going to stop eating chocolates. The decision is yours.
Is it healthy, doctor?
Yeah, it is also healthy because it contains a lot of proteins. Poor people in certain countries, they grow these worms and all, and they feed it to the kids. They are very nutritious. So, Amina, what you fear is quite a nutritious stuff. Okay. And if you really, the thing is, yes, are you scared? Have you shouted that many times? Yes, so many times because of cockroaches. It is quite embarrassing. So if you want a hint, it is very simple. Boric powder, fabric softeners, fresh ground coffee keeps cockroaches away. Have you ever wet yourself? Yes, as a child, had a dream in the room which was filled with cockroaches and there was not even a place to stand. Can never forget that dream. I think you should focus more on chocolates. And the last question, is anybody scared of you? Your answer is no. I am a cinnamon roll. You know something, Amina? Cinnamon rolls are sweet. You know about, and you know cockroaches are
Related to
attracted to
chocolate.
sweet things. No, I'm not saying no. You realize I'm just trying to get you away from your fear.
Or
Thank you,
you're increasing my fears.
Okay, thank you, Tosmas. Amina, could you just explain what is your role for today?
Yeah, I'm the timer for today, and my responsibility is to time every section of the meeting. Yeah.
Thank you. And now we go on to the R counter, Toastmaster Mohammad Shihaz. He's afraid of the dark for a long time since he was a child, and he's also afraid of roaches. Mohammad, are you married?
Yes, I am. And I
And
like to
still you
point out,
don't.
I used to be afraid of roaches. That was an
No.
asterisk there, the answer.
No, okay. Now forget about that. No, marriage part is not with cockroaches. Cockroaches and marriage does not have connection. I'm talking about darkness. You are getting scared of darkness and marriage. That is the link. I'm a bit worried.
No, I would like to counterpoint that because cockroaches and marriage is connected because I am my wife's pest control now. So that is connected.
Okay. What is the definition of a roach? You know, it is the remain of a joint, blunt, or a rolled up cigarette after most of it has been smoked. Because you didn't write cockroaches, you wrote it roach. My new fear is existing itself. Now, that proves that you're married. I should not have asked questions. For the darkness, yes, it went away. Roaches, I went to war and emerged reborn. Just like Batman, Superman, we have a roachman among us. In public, have you screamed ever in your past? Yes. In public, no, you have not screamed. At home, a few times. Roaches or something else. Now, can you please share with us what is that something else?
It's classified.
Then no problem. Okay, and in the end, did you wet yourself? It is highly classified. Okay, we got that answer too. And the scary part of it, I am not exactly the most scary person around. A few juniors back during my first job used to say I'm scared when I am angry. Okay, I don't think anybody will be scared of you. Toastmaster Shaz, can you please read your role? Can you just let us know about your role as an R counter?
Good evening, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster and guests. Purpose of the R counter is to note words and sounds that are used as crutches or fillers. So examples would be the word like you know, and but, and so on. So during the meeting, I will be listening for all these words and I will be noting it down. And by the end of the meeting, I will provide a report on which speaker used these words.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shihaz. And now we go on to the word master and the grammarian, which is handled by our president, Toastmaster Shannon. Qualification, educator. Now, how is an educator different from a teacher? Anything different?
No.
I don't know
No, I
why
think
American.
educator is broad. teachers, no, educator. Big.
Let us now discuss. We'll ask the rest of the role players who are teachers whether they are broad, they are large, or they are narrow. Because I think this is something about Americans. They, for everything, they have a different word. Means, for example, we say footpath, they say side path, if I'm not mistaken. Correct? So that you know that path is in the side, so it is known as something else you'll say. So everything to an American has to be explained, or else you don't know what that American is saying or doing. So now let us see at the end of the, we've got two more teachers, so whether they are educators or teachers. Now, Shannon's question is, what is his fear? His fear of letting go. Okay. Shannon, do you eat Indian food?
I have Indian neighbors here across
Wow.
the street.
Yeah. So you like a lot of spicy dal and all?
And dosa.
Okay. So my suggestion to you is avoid dal. Then you can control it and you won't have the fear of letting it go. Now, the thing is, have you got away with it? With your fear of letting it go? No, but in the process called re-remembering has helped. Next question. Have you screamed or shouted in public? The answer is no, only during certain recurrent kinds of nightmares. I'm usually aware that I'm in a nightmare when I'm in a nightmare plus inside the nightmare. I know that I'm screaming loud enough, I will wake myself up. So in my dream, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. But from what I understand from others who have heard me do this in my sleep, it usually enough noise to wake them up, but not enough noise to wake me up. Just one question. Is nightmare the word for the day today? Because so many times you're using the word nightmare, nightmare, nightmare.
Well, I'm looking what Devlal was saying. With almost 30 minutes late, I think
Okay.
I'm going to have a nightmare tonight.
Okay. The next one. Have you ever wet yourself? No from fear, no, but from laughing loud. Again, I'm asking you, are you afraid to let it go?
Well, you have no choice sometimes.
Okay. I think your main fear should be laughing, because the amount you laugh, the thing is you may just be wetting regularly off and on. And you must be just like what I feel is like a garden sprinkler just coming off and on. Is anybody afraid of you? No one has ever told me, fortunately. Educators, you all teachers, you all should understand that everyone will always say no to you. Thanks, Shannon. Now, can we have the word for the day and what is your role as a grammarian?
Well, first I'll start with grammarian. My role as grammarian is to listen to the proper and improper use of the English language and report at the end of the meeting how we did. And as far as the word of the day, I'm just going to put it in the chat. It's glossophobia. And this is a noun, and it's the fear of speaking in public. Now, what's interesting about the English language is that lots of times we say, I am afraid, I am tired. Whereas in other language, they aren't afraid, they have fear. Some people, they say, I am in debt, like I am in prison. Other languages say, I have debt. So it's something, this is something you have, not something that you are. So
Okay.
Every time you use this word, having glossophobia, then I'll put a mark and report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you. I just read Devlal's message. I'm getting Devlalophobia. We are 30 minutes late, but I have to just quick questions to all, but I cannot miss out. Thought of the day to our educator, Toastmaster Sunita. Sunita, are you a teacher or an educator?
Teacher in the classroom, I think educator in general.
Okay, at home with your husband around. Okay, she also has fear of darkness. Yes, have she got away with her fear? Yes, fear of public speaking through Toastmasters. Now,
That's
teacher or
glossophobia.
educator, huh? Okay.
That's glossophobia.
Okay, now teacher, you are only going to get 2 out of 10 in your exam, because in question number 2, you had A, which is fear of darkness, and B, which is fear of speaking. You did not say anything about fear of speaking when you were giving the answer. And in question 3, you only answered 2B. So I have noticed that you are not concentrating in my class. Okay. Now, screamed, yes, she has screamed in a roller coaster and sand dunes ride in safari. Full marks for question number 4. Not myself means, have you wet yourself? She said, no, out of fear, not myself, but I have seen other people do it. Teacher, most of your students on Zoom nowadays?
Yes, most of them.
So how do you notice if it is wet or not when they're on Zoom? You have an
Nobody's afraid
additional-
of me. My
Okay.
students are not afraid of me.
And the last question, anybody afraid of you? Hope my students don't talk about it,
Yeah.
but I don't think anybody is afraid of me. We have one of your students out here, Amina. You were her student?
She was in school.
She's so scared. She's
She's
immediately
not
saying,
saying
"Were you
anything.
afraid of her?" Okay. So, and now general evaluator. Now, quickly, Tosma Sunita, can you have
Yeah.
share your thought of the day?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So there was once this criminal who obviously had committed a crime, and he was sent to the king for his punishment. Now the king told him he had a choice of two punishments. He could be hung by a rope, or he showed him a door behind him. It was a big, dark, scary, mysterious door. So the criminal quickly decided on the rope. As the noose was being slipped on his neck, he, out of curiosity, asked the king, what is behind that door?" So the king laughed and he said, it's funny. I offer everyone the same choice, and nearly everyone picks up the rope." So the criminal was still curious and he said, "You can still tell me what's behind that door, because I won't be telling it to anyone, because I definitely won't be alive." So the king paused and then he answered. He said, "There is freedom behind that door." But it seems most people are so afraid of the unknown that they immediately take the rope. I love the story when I read it, because it just shows, or it encourages people to overcome fear of the unknown. It actually offers a powerful reminder about the dangers of clinging to the familiar. We cling to the familiarity of our rope, like our familiar pains. We are comfortable. Familiar struggles, we are comfortable. Familiar patterns, we are comfortable. So, too many of us don't take the risk of going into the unknown. Uh, I would just say one thing: instead of resisting our fears, choose to embrace them. I'm not talking about stepping out in front of a bus or doing something stupid. I'm talking about the fear that is limiting us in some way or the other. Maybe it's starting a project, maybe it's taking up a role even in Toastmasters. Most of us, people like me, have not done a roast because of my fear. So I think something like that, going into the unknown, is something which we would do. So use your fear to guide you, to help you grow, expand, and move forward in a direction that serves you. So, the last thing is, remember, your largest fears always carries your greatest growth. I repeat, your largest fear carries your greatest growth. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you. And now for today's general evaluator, Roastmaster, Toastmaster Devlal. I'll quickly go through them because before 30 minutes, he'll make 45 minutes. He's a trainer by profession. He is scared of spiders. He's still afraid of spiders. Has not screamed yet. No, he says that he has never wet his pant. Always the roast master. We should all agree with whatever he says, and nobody's fearing him so far. Being the roast master, all of us will agree with you. Roast master Devlal. Devlal, can you please call out? Means just tell us what you'll be doing as the roast master of the day.
Good evening, everyone. My role as a roast master this evening is to observe the proceedings of the meeting right from the beginning till the end, and provide a report at the end, which could possibly include a few suggestions. Over to you.
Now we move on to the prepared speeches session. We started our meeting a bit late because we were scared the speakers may not be around when the chance comes. But that was almost 1 hour back. I think we should have started our meeting right on time. And now we have two speakers today. Toastmaster Amina, can we have the timing rules for the two speeches?
Yeah. At 4 minutes, there'll be green light. There at 5 minutes, there'll be the yellow light, and at 6 minutes, there'll be the red light.
This is for 4 speakers. They are 5 to 7 minutes or 4 to 6 minutes.
Oh, it's 3 to 4. Wait, it's 4 to 6 minutes.
Okay, done.
Both the
Thank you.
speakers are 4.
Can you just show the light in your background once so that everyone is, at
Yeah,
least you
yeah.
are comfortable with? Okay, green. Okay. Nisha is saying her speech is 5, 6, 7
Yeah.
in the chat. Can you change the color from green to amber and red?
Yep.
Okay, and red. Okay, done. Thank you. Okay, so the timing for Nisha will be 5, 6, and 7. And now, may I request, thank you. First evaluator is Toastmaster Sujit. He'll be evaluating Toastmaster Momita. Toastmaster Sujit, can we have the objectives of Toastmaster Momita?
Sure, Toastmaster Katrak. Ice-breaking speech. Momita, your objective is to introduce yourself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speaking. All the best. And before you begin, may I ask Amina, can you just remove the green background? All the best, Momita, and over to you, Toastmaster Katrak.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sujit. And coming to Toastmaster Momita, she was a geography teacher in Doha, and now she's in Abu Dhabi since 2 years. She's a homemaker. She fears nothing. Wow. Let's see at the end of the meeting, and the other thing, she's never screamed. She is not and does not have any wetting problem. And the only person who's scared of her is her husband. I don't think that is surprising to anybody. And you don't need to specify that. And then she says a bit she's scared of snakes. The title of Momita's speech is Wear a Smile. Toastmaster Momita, best of luck to you.
I hope I'm audible and visible too, right?
Perfect.
To all of you. Yeah. You can't cross the sea merely by standing and staring at the water. Any bright spot here? Who can identify the author of the quote? Nobody? Don't bother. I didn't know either. All I wanted was to grab your attention. I looked up for some quotes from the famous Rabindranath Tagore. Fellow Toastmaster, dear guest, very good evening to one and all. As you all should know by now, this is Momita Mukherjee from Shantiniketan. Shantiniketan means abode of peace. And I'm truly blessed to have been raised there through the prime of my life. My university, Vishwarati Shantiniketan University, followed a Gurukul ashram-style education system and a perfect blending, the best of Western and the traditional education system, and lovingly modeled and established by Rabindranath Tagore. And it's also a World UNESCO heritage. Indira Gandhi, Nobel laureate Amartya Sen, and Oscar winner Satyajit Ray, and many more famous personalities and renowned personalities have been alumni of our university. So a gentle reminder that you are now looking at the next world champion of public speaking, giving her debut icebreaker speech. Speaking about the debut project, I was my parents' favorite pet project. Like any other first Indian parents, my parents were in a mission to make me doctors, engineers, Olympic athlete, all in one. But I thought, why should I only suffer? And hence landed up in a teaching profession. I was a geography teacher. And after teaching the rivers, mountains, volcanoes, earthquake, and correcting the maps of my legend cartographer students. And perhaps without them, I wouldn't even know when the equator passes through India or how close we are to the North Pole. Can't blame them, like teacher, like student. Then I decided to have my own project and got married with a dashing and charming man, Anirban. India is a land of engineers, and not exception. My husband belongs to that crowd. And in the passage of marriage, we are blessed with a child, our daughter. And we were settled in Doha, Qatar. And then 2 years ago, we relocated in Abu Dhabi. And hence, decided to give my student a break while being super productive. And I must admit here today, I am totally enjoying this phase of my life, especially the early morning, mid-afternoon, and the evening sleep. Stunningly refreshing. Here, I have a trick question for you. How many of you believe that practice makes the man perfect? Can you just wave your hand if you believe in so? Quite a few. I have been rigorously practicing waking up early in the morning ever since I remember without being yelled at. 30 years of practice and still doesn't come handy. And hence, looking for some serious tips, I have set all my clock ahead of time and to prevent being late. And all it really does, it sharpens my subtraction skill. But during some exceptional weekends, I managed to get ready on time and leave home with the hope that we will make to our destination on time. And then my husband gently whispers those magical words. Honey, fuel tank is indicator is orange. Need to fill the tank, we will be late. My fellow wise, experienced married Toastmaster must be well aware about the wife role. And if not, take a note. Don't start an argument with your wife. For obvious reasons, we are born with an unlimited storage memory, and we are not shy in showing our capabilities. And not exception, my daughter has already started showing the early sign of this capability. Can't blame her. Like mother, like daughter. And my husband followed the old cardinal rule. Dumb man has no enemy. As I was embracing my alarm routine, I got to know from a very reliable source, a close friend of mine, a graduate from the WhatsApp University, that according to science, the people who are always late are more creative. I agree. I am a very creative person in making excuses for being late. But today, I thought of embracing my humble self and not to overshoot my speech. But I promise you that you will get more opportunities to listen to wife rule and get enlightened. Just like the quote I started with, you can't cross the sea merely by standing and staring at the water. You might be come across with various forms of challenges in your life, like pandemic, like husband. But all you need is a little sense of humor and a smile to sail to the sea, to smoothen the life out, and things will eventually fall in place. If not today, tomorrow. And thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you. I'm sure after hearing that you so confidently, I'm sure you don't have any fears. And I'm also sure many of your students must be fearing you. You may say no, but I'm sure they may be fearing you. Now we go on to our next speaker, who's another dynamic lady. Our next speaker is Toastmaster Nisha, whose speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Ravi. Toastmaster Ravi, can we please have the objectives of Toastmaster Nisha's speech?
Good evening, Toastmaster of the evening, and everyone. The purpose of Nisha's project is for her to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply feedback to a second speech. The purpose of this particular speech, which is a part of the project, is for her to present a speech and receive feedback from the evaluator. So the time allotted is 5 to 7 minutes. Best of luck, Nisha.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ravi. And now Toastmaster Nisha. Nisha, are you a teacher or an educator?
Educator.
Okay, good. And her fear is losing my loved ones, and she's not overcome it, not actually. Has she screamed yes when I went to Formula Rossa? Has she ever, because of fear, wet herself? I must have while sleeping. I used to be a scared cat and I used to get really very weird dreams. Do you sleep a lot?
I used to, but after becoming mother, no.
No, but why? What do you mean? I must have. So you are not very sure whether it dried up or something. You are not very means. But I still don't understand.
I don't keep bad memories
how
with
do you
myself.
identify? Did you wet yourself or not?
Yeah, I try to forget bad memories.
Okay, good. And anybody scared of you? My students used to be, but I don't think they do now. I feel every student fears every teacher because there are no, because only one question. They are not scared of you anymore because they are not anymore your students, or because there's a change in you?
Change in me.
Okay, good. And when I asked her about her husband, she was very clear to say that he is scared to tell me if he's scared of me or not. And you also are in same school, and you also have one more student out here?
Chitsimran, my old school. No, Chitsimran.
Okay.
Old school.
Amina has not been
Yes.
your student. Okay. And the speech title for Nisha is Jack of Trades. Am I right? Best of luck, Toastmaster Nisha, for your speech. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Katrak. Imagine you are a multi-tool, like a Swiss knife, as opposed to being just a screwdriver. A multi-tool can get the job done, but does the screwdriver do better? Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Yes, I'm trying to refer the old saying, Jack of trades, but master of none. There is no doubt that screwdriver will serve the purpose, but it is the only purpose. On the other hand, Swiss knife will also do the job and has multiple other functions. If I am Jack of trade, does it mean I'm master of none? Let's talk about it. When man made first wheel, he thought he had mastery in motors. It was Eureka moment. But we all know the rest. To whom we should call that they are having mastery in their skills? The one who developed the antivirus, or the one who introduced a new virus every day? In my teenage years, I joined sketching classes, tailoring classes, dance classes too. I have made many portraits of famous celebrities. I can draw and paint. I can draw and paint well, but not like Picasso. I cook really well, but I'm not Jamie Oliver. If tomorrow my cook calls me to inform that she will not come for a week, I can cook for my kids, and I'm sure there will be no complaint about the taste. People, they look down on multi-talented person. Even the phrase Jack of all trades, master of none has a bit of negative character. But there are lots of hidden perks that comes with being a Jack. Let me share some of the best reasons we might want to reconsider the notion that a Jack of all trades can't be equally as successful. One of the benefits is adaptability. In general, we are taught throughout our lives to pick something and specialize at it. Think of the classic question, what do you want to become when you grow up? I wanted to be a doctor, engineer, pilot, lecturer, and a chef. Ultimately, I chose to be a teacher. And I can do a bit of plumbing, carpentry, as well as electrician job. Obviously at my home only, but yes, I can do. Justin Timberlake, the Grammy-winning singer, songwriter, actor, dancer, record producer, does it all. He runs 2 restaurants in New York. He's an avid golfer too. He's a real jack and has a mastery in many fields. Specializing certainly has multitude of undeniable benefits, but that it is not necessarily that only way to find success in the life. I believe being a jack can make it easier to master certain skills. As a jack of all trades, we are able to take on wide range of jobs and situations. I may not be a superstar at everything I do, but I can do things just well enough that I am never stressed about what might come next. I know well how to use the knowledge and skills I have developed doing other things to make my job easier. A jack of all trades is not content learning about just one thing, but it is a thirst of knowledge which gives the best skill we can learn, knowing how to learn. And when we learn how to do one thing, we start to learn associated skills too. We develop a sense for the best way to learn something efficiently so that we can be good enough at whatever we choose. It might sound a little silly, but when we know how to approach new skills properly, no mountain is too high. It is just an elbow grease and time. Confidence plays a huge part in our life, both socially and professionally. With confidence, we can approach work without hesitation and come across as someone who appears capable to others. Doing the things we are good at is a great way to build up our confidence. And a jack of all trades is good at a lot of things. With a wide enough variety of skills, we could always be doing something we are good at, constantly boosting our confidence, no matter we have set our mind to. No matter where we land with this concept, being a jack of all trades have plenty of benefits for those who want to try and do it all. It simply means that person is generalist rather than a specialist. Versatile, adept at many things. I can proudly say I have no special talent, but I am passionately curious, just like Albert Einstein. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nisha. I feel you are the Jill of all trades, not the Jack, but you're amazing. And now with that, can we have the timing record for both the speakers? Toastmaster Amina, sorry.
Yeah, TM Momita took 6.21 minutes and Nisha took 5.47 minutes. Both are qualified.
Thank you. But since we've decided that there are 2 speakers, there will not be any voting. Now with that, we go on.
There will be, Dr. Katrak. Last time we decided that we would vote for the best speaker and evaluator.
But we voted for that? I'm sorry,
No,
sorry.
Yeah, we voted in for the motion, so we would have.
Even if there are 2, we'll be voting.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Sorry. It comes with age, I forget things. So both are qualified? Yeah, launch the.
Yes, so
if you are finished, Nisha, you got all the votes?
Yeah, finished. Yeah.
Okay, now next we would go to the twisted topic session. Today's specific topic master is Toastmaster Neha. Are you around? Is Neha back?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, she's back. Yeah. Okay. So Neha is a French and IELTS trainer. She had a fear, I don't believe this, fear of speaking in public. Can't imagine. And she's overcome the fear with years of continuous efforts and pushing myself onto the stage and speaking since school, and finally ending up training an audience of more than 400 people. Wow. And the rest of the answers are no, no, no. She's never screamed in public. She's never wet herself, and nobody's scared of her. I believe all the three of them. Okay, so now, because it's always to be good to the twisted topic master, before the session starts, can we have the timing rules, please? Toastmaster Amina, you are having twisted topics or table topics?
Table topics, Dr. Katrak.
Okay.
Right.
Toastmaster Amina, 1, 2, 1,
Yes.
1.5, 2.
Yeah, one, 1.5, and 2.
Okay. Okay, best of luck, Toastmaster Neha.
Thank you so much, Dr. Katrak, and a very good evening to everyone, Toastmasters and guests. So the purpose of Topic Master is to facilitate table topics, that is impromptu speaking, and this gives an opportunity to members and guests to overcome glossophobia, which is the fear of public speaking. What I will do is I will introduce the topic, and then I'll call upon a speaker who would be given, as Amina has shared the timing rules, 1 to 2 minutes to speak on a particular topic. So are we all ready? Perfect. So the first topic is, what personal prisons have you built out of fears? I repeat, what personal prisons have you built out of fears? I would like to invite Toastmaster Naveed if you're here. Toastmaster Naveed, are you here? Okay, he's not here, I believe. So Toastmaster Sunita, what personal prisons have you built out of fears?
Thank you, Toastmaster. Okay, what personal prisons have you built out of fear? I had already spoken about my fear of the dark, and of course, glossophobia, which is a very, very important one, which I'm still trying to overcome. I did build prisons in the sense I would never participate in any of the elocution competitions held in school. I would never want to go and volunteer for any kind of task where I had to go and have a say. Never took part in debate competitions. And probably if I had done that in school, I would have come a long way, but it took me many years to overcome that. So I think there were prisons built. And fear of the dark, of course, is something which is still there. It's not yet gone. And again, that is a prison for me, because when people walk, if you go for an outing and people walk carelessly in darkness and they enjoy being out in the dark or during the nights, I have this hesitation of going out and wondering if I'll be able to overcome that fear. So this prison has to be overcome. And I think each of us will definitely have this prison. And that's about it. So this is my say about my prison and trying to overcome it. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sunita. The next topic is, what would life be like if you weren't afraid of your spouse? What would life be like if you weren't afraid of your spouse? I'd like to invite Toastmaster Nishad for this. Toastmaster Nishad, are you there?
Yes, Neha. Can you repeat the question again? What
Yes.
would be?
What would life be like if you weren't afraid of your spouse?
Yeah, of course, life will be very enjoyable. And first of all, I'm not afraid of my wife or anything. Even she also not afraid. And in a single word, I can say life will be enjoyable and that's all. Over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Toastmaster Nishad. The next topic is, what is your biggest fear and have you overcome it? What is your biggest fear and have you overcome it? I was about to ask our guest Yuvraj if you would be willing to participate. But I think before, while I was asking the question, he's not here now. Yuvraj, are you there? Okay, so I'll skip this question and I'll go to a topic where I need two speakers. And this is the situation. You are on your first date and you're afraid of crabs. So the girl that you're meeting on the date orders a surprise dish for you, and that has a lot of crabs in it. How would you tell your date that you don't like it, and what would you do in that situation? So I would invite Amina and Shihaz, Toastmaster Shihaz and Toastmaster Amina.
Can you repeat the question again?
Yes. So you are both on a date and you ordered a surprise dish for Shihaz that is full of crabs, and he is afraid of crabs. He wants to tell that to you, and this is your first date. So when the dish is served, Shihaz, it is in front of you. Now, how do you tell that to her, and what would you do? So take it away.
Okay,
If somebody could keep the timing rules, please. The timing, please. Dr. Katrak could. Okay, thank you so much, Dave. Thanks.
okay, finally, I've been so hungry. I wonder where the food is. What did you order, by the way?
I love crabs. Let me just order some
Wait, what?
mixed seafood dish. So it's something that contains crabs, shrimps. I love.
Could you say that one more time? Could you say that one more time? I heard seafood, I heard dish, but the other thing just before that.
Seafood. Yeah, the crabs and the shrimps, oysters.
Did you say crab?
Yeah.
Did you order it?
Yeah.
Okay, now assuming that waiter brings the thing and puts it right in front of me. So if I lift this lid, there's going to be crabs under this?
Yep. Delicious.
Oh yeah, yum, yum. Why don't you start? Why don't you go ahead?
Okay. Let me just open the lid. And I give it to you.
Ooh,
there you go. Try it.
It's so big. It's got
Let me cut it for you. Let me cut it for you and give. There you go. Try it.
You know this.
You should overcome your fears.
Okay, now glossophobia is one thing, but this is something completely else. And how do you even eat it? It's all shell. Do I bite it? Do I crunch it?
You eat the inner flesh of it.
Why don't you go ahead and then you crack it and then I just shudder. Ugh.
That's good.
Thank you so much.
I don't even eat seafood.
Pass me the shrimps. Pass me the shrimps. Just keep the crabs to yourself, please. End scene.
Yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shihaz. Thank you, Toastmaster Amina. Yuvraj, are you there? We'll just do the last table topic.
Yeah, and
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. So the topic for you is, what is your biggest fear and have you overcome it?
Sorry, Toastmasters. Actually, this is my first time talking to public. So, as you know, this is my fear. Talking to a mass of people, this is my biggest fear. I mean, like if I see multiple people standing in front of me, my mind goes blank, and I'm really trying to get rid of this one. And the reason I joined Toastmasters Club also, I'm expecting to have this fear gone away. So this is my biggest fear, talking to multiple peoples. If I see anybody, I mean like 2-3 peoples in front of me, and then if I have to explain something, then my tongue gets slips and my mind goes blank. And I'm keep on practicing. I mean, like even I'm alone at home, I will try to record myself in camera, try to, talk, make a conversation, try to speak to myself, and I will think like, there is a mass I'm talking to. Like it's technically it's like a simulating myself to the mass. And to get rid of this, my fear, here in Toastmasters Club, and I hope it will help me out to build up and get rid of my fear to talking to the multiple peoples. Thank you. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you so much, Yuvraj. Thank you. Great. So that was it. Timer, can we have the timing report, please?
So the first TM Sunita took 1 minute 27 seconds. TM Nisha took 29 seconds, and me and TM Shiaz took 2 minutes 14 seconds, and guest Yuvraj took 1 minute.
Okay, so could you please let us know
Yeah.
who all are qualified for voting?
Yeah, TM Sunita, TM Nishad, and Yuvraj. And I think the 2 minutes also should be qualified, right? Because it's under, like, we have 30 seconds more.
So Nishad, you said 29 seconds, right?
Yeah,
it has to be 1 minute to 2 minutes. So both of you are qualified.
Oh.
You and Shihaz would be qualified.
All right, all right.
So
No,
we
no,
have
no. Me and Shihaz are 2 minutes 14 seconds.
qualified.
2 minutes.
We have a buffer of 30
minutes.
seconds, right? So that qualified. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you for your participation. Off to you, TME.
Thank you, Toastmaster Neha. And now we go on quickly to the evaluation session. Before we start with the evaluation session, Toastmaster Amina, you're back. Can you just read out the timing rules for the evaluation?
Yeah, it's 2 to 3 minutes. At 2, it's green light, 2.5, it's yellow light, and 3 minutes, it's red light.
Thank you very much. And now, 1 second, she said 2, 2.5, 3, right? Yeah, correct. Now we go on to our first evaluator, that is Toastmaster Sujit, and he'll be evaluating Toastmaster's Momita's speech. But before Sujit starts, I have to say what he had to tell us about his fears. Toastmaster Sujit is a senior marine underwriter. I still don't understand what this means. Sujit, can you explain? Means you teach people to write underwater, or what is it?
You don't have to understand. It's beyond your brain, Katrak.
Thank you very much. Okay, next question. What he fears is snakes. Snakes, I asked one question. Where have you seen snakes? Because nowadays we have not come across a snake for a long time. So he said, I live in a mini snake city in India. Am I right? So he stays in a city where there are snakes and girls wear minis. That is what you want to explain? And then he even went ahead and said that once he saw them and then he stopped. No, 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 I'm not supposed to say about this. So are you worried about something? Toastmaster Sujit, do you have any connections with RK? You know who's RK?
No.
He's been
Who's
quite popular since the last 1 week or so, 1 or 2 weeks. Raj Kundra.
that?
Were you doing some, were you doing some video shooting or something of the snakes for Raj Kundra?
No, you spoiled chocolates for Amina. Now you spoiled something for me.
Okay. And have you been able to overcome your fear for snakes? No, not at all. I don't think it will happen. Fourth question: have you shouted out of fear in a public? Yes, but not out of fear. Again, I'm doubting. You shouted in public, but it has nothing to do with fear. Are you connected to Raj Kundra? I'm not sure. Anyway, the next question. Whether have you wet yourself? It is sweat, yes, not wet. Now, how can you differentiate whether it is sweat or whether it is wet? What litmus test did you try out?
From
They're
the
both
area,
salty.
from the origin, I mean, from the area of origin, you can know whether it's a sweat or
Okay. And scared, unfortunately, no one is scared of him. He's trying to, you have the same problem like me. He's trying to achieve it from his kids. But I don't think even his kids are scared of you. You're such a humorous person. I don't think anybody will be scared of you. So Toastmaster Sujit, can you please go ahead with the evaluation of Toastmaster Momitas?
Thank you, Toastmaster Katrak. Momita, they say the fear of public speaking is worse than the fear of death. We all know that it's exaggerated. But talking about death, we are also scared of doctors, right? Some doctors, like Toastmaster of the meeting, fellow Toastmasters, and Momita. You know, if I could summarize your speech in a sentence, I would say that well begun is half done. You know, we always say, look, I need to give you a warning. Means many times in Toastmaster, they say that, you know, it's an ice-breaking speech, so just whitewash, tell the good things. I don't do that. There are people who walked away from this club because of my evaluation. So whatever I'm going to tell you, trust me, I meant it. If it was a face-to-face meeting, you know, we say that a speaker is evaluated not from the first word, from the beginning of the first word he or she utters. From the moment he or she stands from a chair, walk towards the podium and start speaking, smile the audience, and you know, just before the speech, we call it as managing the moment. The same way, I could see you were like fully prepping up for your speech. You were standing, you were checking out, you were rehearsing it. I think your parents' prayers worked. You were like those Olympic athletes, you know, just prepping up to, you know, hear that gunshot. It was like that. And that shows the seriousness of how well you are taking this, the journey of public speaking. Awesome. Then comes to the speech part. The flow of that speech. It was audible, and the way you used the stage, I would say that your preparation was really good. Then what I loved was the way you use your hands. So we can say that the body language, you were like very naturally using it. It was nice the way, like when you came forward to the camera and whispered and you were acting it. It was well done, Momita. Then this part, we don't normally see in the ice-breaking speeches, audience interaction. You asked questions and the audience interaction was there. Even I saw Nisha typing something as a response to your question. That was well done. Then the humor part, another tough stuff to put it in an ice-breaking speech. Though I didn't like being a husband, I consider it as rude humor, but I loved it. You know, it's humor at the end of the day. Then the last thing, camera. You know, we senior Toastmasters don't use the camera properly. You positioned it well. And I could see that means normally in other meetings I've seen you, but today, because of your ice-breaking speech, your attire was different. You took it really seriously, real serious. I love that part, Momita. So in short, these were the points I loved about your speech, and I don't have much points to give you as an ice-breaking speech, but at this point, I don't know how far it will reach you. Try to have a conversation with your audience. We say stop giving speeches and start having conversation. just have a conversation with your audience, because it's your story, so you can emote it well. Being vulnerable is not a mistake. Audience will think that, yeah, you're one among them. In short, that was a beautiful personal story mixed with a humor and a message, and I loved it. And I wish you all the best to become the world champion of public speaking. All the best, and God bless you, Mugdha. Over to you, Toastmaster Katrak.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sujit. And now we go on to our next evaluator, that is Toastmaster Ravi. Toastmaster Ravi is an enterprise technology whisperer. Again, I don't know what it is. We have a shortage of time. I'm not going to ask. Fear, I've always been a noxocome phobic. Any idea? Anybody knows? Fear of doctors and hospitals. And how does he try to improve on it? He's tried progressive exposure. For example, I started to overcome my extreme fear of doctors and hospitals watching medical dramas on TV. Initially, it was difficult, but now he's getting better. Except for the surgery part, he can see everything. I don't know why these people, even Sujit, both the evaluators don't like doctors, in spite of them being such good people. And step by step, he's going to overcome this fear. Has he ever screamed out of fear in public? No, but it is in my bucket list. Okay. Have you ever wet yourself? No, but I got up wet from my sweat multiple times after scary dreams. We are running short of time on the same question. I would like to ask him, Ravi, as I asked Sujit. Both the evaluators are sweaty, but they are not able to find out whether it is sweat or what. And the last question, who's scared of you? He said, yes, my first girlfriend. She said I never smiled, had a generally anger denoma, and unpredictable behavior. Later, I deliberately started smiling more. Ravi, one question. Did you marry her or?
No, she didn't.
Ravi?
I wanted to.
No. No. Unfortunately, my first girlfriend had the same problem with me. But the mistake I made was that I married her. Now I can't even deliberately smile. Over to you, Toastmaster Ravi. Best of luck in evaluating Toastmaster Nisha.
Toastmaster of the evening, fellow Toastmasters, and Nisha, good evening. Jack of all trades but master of none is actually often used as an insulting phrase, but that's only because it's used only half of the full sentence. The original sentence was, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but often better than a master of one. So it was supposed to be a compliment, which became an insult over time. Today, Nisha brought out the true spirit of the full phrase for us, and I congratulate her for that. So let me tell you what I really loved about the speech. First of all, the topic selection. The topic selection was very interesting and a unique topic which changes the perspective of that particular sentence for the audience. And the next, the confidence with which she delivered the speech. The last word that we can describe Nisha with will be glossophobic. So she totally owned the virtual stage, completely confident. She used certain visual aids, the Swiss knife and the screwdriver, which very well complemented the speech. I liked that. And she made the speech very inspiring by bringing the positives of being jack of all trades. Some of the things that I caught, maybe not the same words that she used, that it will help you to be more flexible, adaptable. It makes you more curious. It will help you to develop cross-functional skills, because you can use the same learning on other skills, etc. So fantastic positives of this being a jack of all trades she has brought up in the speech. She used several examples in the speech, both her own examples as well as equally capable celebrities like Justin Timberlake. Very effectively used all the examples. And also her gestures. She tried to use gestures at many points, although it was a little limited because of the screen, but she tried that. Now for the suggestions, the main thing again will be the gestures, because most of the time you were appearing as a talking head. Your hand gestures and full body language was limited because you were sitting so close to the screen. I would suggest that if you deliver the speech standing like Maumita did, or at least sit a bit far away from the camera so that a little more than your face is visible to the audience, it will be, your body language will be more powerful. Another thing will be, you have used a lot of personal examples, however, it missed personal stories, I guess. If you can give a small story or something which tells how being jack of all trades helped you in your life, it would have been nice. You could connect with the audience better. And the third point would be, you had a fantastic opening. It really caught the audience. You had a question and all. But the conclusion, I feel it was not powerful enough. Summarizing the spirit of the speech, which is very powerful speech, was in an inspiring nutshell, and presenting it at the end of the speech might make it more punchy. So in conclusion, a fantastic speech with excellent topic selection, very confidently delivered, great content, lots of examples, give a little bit more attention to your body language, camera position, add a little bit of personal stories, and a powerful conclusion. And I feel it can take the speech to the next level. Back to TMA.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ravi. With this, we conclude the evaluation session. Can we have the voting for the first? We can have the voting for the table topics. Can the names be put up?
Yeah.
Immediately after this, are you ready, Nishad, with the evaluation names?
Yeah.
The voting is over for the table topics?
No, till now, no, 9 members only voted.
Okay.
Till now, 11
That
only.
much time. Okay. Sorry, because we need to know the timing of both the evaluators. Toastmaster Amina, can you please tell us whether both of them are qualified or not?
Yeah, both of them are qualified. TM Sujit took 3 minutes 30 seconds exactly.
Okay, done. Both qualified. Okay, thank you. So, Nishad, are you ready with the voting for the evaluators?
Yeah.
Can you just put it up? Are we through with it, Nishad?
10 members only so far.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. Zoom Master, now we go on to the R counter. Toastmaster Mama Shehaz, can you please have the R counter report?
Hi, so there was not much glossophobia today, going by all the speeches. The prepared speeches, Momita, I did not notice anything, any other fillers from your speech. You did begin some of your sentences with "and" 3 or 4 times, and this and that. So that's something to watch. Toastmaster Nisha, I did not notice any fillers in your speech. For the evaluators, Toastmaster Sujit, you did say "you know" a couple of times. That's about it that I noticed. Toastmaster Ravi, you are fine. Generally, the other Toastmasters, Toastmaster Shannon, you said a few times. Toastmaster Neha also, you said a few times, as in this and in between your sentences. Toastmaster Katrak, I wish I could say more, but all he said was well and so I can't commit more than that. That's about it. Table topic speakers, Sunita did say and well once each. So all in all, it's pretty good.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shehaz. Thank you. And now I request our word master and grammarian Toastmaster Shannon to present the report for the, can you please, Toastmaster Shannon?
Yes, sir.
Word and
Okay.
grammar.
For the word of the day, glossophobia, Sunita used it 3 times. Dr. Katrak gave the definition of it many times without using the word. Deha used it once, Ravi used it once, and Jahaz used it once. For the grammar, Dr. Katrak said each one of us have. The verb goes with each. So each one of us has. And you mentioned, I used to be a scared cat. The expression is a scaredy cat. This is somebody who is always afraid. A scaredy with a Y. It's kind of a strange word, scaredy cat. Momita, you mentioned you can't prophecy. And I said, but that's not what I would say. So I went to check, and it's actually okay. I would say prophesize, but both prophecy and prophesize are acceptable as a verb. So that was fine. Just, because sometimes we have different forms and different people use different forms. Okay. You also said a graduate of What's Up University. I thought that was clever. Then you said wife rule. A wife's rule, wives rules, but you need to put either an A there or you need to put a plural. Okay. Nisha, one small grammar thing that you may want to pay attention to, that's using a and. Sometimes you leave those out. You said screwdriver instead of a screwdriver, and being Jack instead of being a Jack. Neha, I didn't get the word exactly. What personal presence have you built out of fear? So first I heard presence with the TS. And then I said, maybe she means build the presence with the CE. And then somebody answered prisons. So I did whatever it was, I didn't catch it exactly.
It was prisons, Shannon. Yeah, prisons.
Oh, that is, when you say that, that doesn't help me. You have to spell it. We have presence, presence, or prisons.
Prisons, PRISONS.
I didn't get that until I think Sunita or somebody replied about the prisons, because you can also build a presence with the CE on the end. Okay. Sunita, I wasn't sure if you did this, but it's one of those things. If I had, I would have. I didn't know if you used the would have twice or not, but it's one of the things I still wanted to pick out, even if you said it correctly. This is the third conditional. If I had come earlier, I would have been on time, for example. So again, I wasn't sure if you used that. If with if part, I had. The other part would have with the third part of the verb. Neha. Okay, you made me blush. Okay, we have to be careful how we use English because sometimes these words have different meanings. And you had a male and a female. And you said you were afraid of crabs. Okay, when I heard that, I about died because crabs, look it up in the dictionary. It has another meaning. And I really am blushing, surely, but so just be aware. Okay, Yuvraj, you mentioned when I see multiple people standing in front of me. Okay, take a look. We're all sitting. Okay, we're not standing. You say, and one thing, you said multiple peoples, so just many people. Okay. Amina, one thing to be aware of, especially in this kind of group, usually when somebody called on you for a report, you said, yeah. So you may want to say yes, because this is a little bit more formal situation. And finally, Dr. Katrak, I wasn't following Raj Kundra, but I looked it up and I blushed again. So yeah, so we learned. That concludes my report. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shannon. And now we'll quickly go on to it's almost 9:30. We'll go on to the twisted topic evaluation session, which is by Toastmaster Suchita. Toastmaster Suchita is a financial consultant with Nexus. Her main problem is what ifs. Like most of the ladies, what if they wonder. Has she overcome it? Not overcome, but have learned to deal with it. Did she scream yes when riding the roller coaster Formula Rossa? When the question, have you, because of fear, become wet? Again, there was a silent pause. And is anybody afraid of you? Yes, my daughter when she was a kid. Now it's the other way around. Husband has not come in the picture till now. Is he afraid of you? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know why I asked this question. Over to you, Toastmaster Suchita.
Thank you, Dr. Katrak. And good evening, everyone. So since we are pressed for time, I will be very, very quick, or so I say. For the table topics, the first topic was regarding the personal prisons. Have you built out of fear, right? And the speaker was Sunita. Sunita, what I would say is great presence of mind there. You used the word, and well, you already were questioned regarding your fears earlier on in your introduction. So you quickly picked up from there and you started speaking regarding it. Positives, yes, you picked up the two fears and then you came out with a stance. Initially, you stated boldly that, yes, I built some prisons because of the fears that I have. And that one sentence, you took your stance, and then that was the reason there was a structure to your speech, because you started answering, adhering to that particular sentence. And then you said about your public speaking fears, which went off very structurally, very well. There was a sound structure there because you explained what was the fear, the situation, the symptoms, how it played out in your life, and then the solution, obviously, because we are doing public speaking here. And then you had a chance to use the word, but great presence of mind that you used the word even. Then you brought in the second fear, when that approach was positive, negative, positive. That way you actually structured your speech. But the second fear that you said, you kind of concluded abruptly saying that I hope to overcome it. What I would have loved to see here was if you could have tied it up to your first stance, the first bold positive statement that I built up some presence out of that. You could have just tied it up, for example, like, I have a fear of darkness and prisons, they are dark. I will use that fear to break out of the prison or something like that, to correlate it and then conclude it on a very strong foundation. Delivery wise, you are always calm, poised, with congeniality to the core. I would love to see some excitement whenever you deliver some speeches, right? So next time, let's go ahead with something about that. All the best to you. Second topic was, what would life be like if you are not afraid of your spouse? And the question went to Nishad. Nishad, smiling countenance, and then you blocked yourself with the first sentence saying that, no, we are not afraid of each other. Well, there are times when you will get thrown with questions which contradict your reality. But as a table topic speaker, you have a commitment, you have a responsibility to answer that question. My suggestion would be go with the hypothetical situation that, yes, you are afraid, and then you start imagining things. Let your imagination fly free. And I'm sure that you will get something to speak upon that. It's an opportunity, do not waste it, use it to hone your skills and then take up the opportunity to speak. So best of luck for you to attempt it better next time. Moving on to our twisted topic. Well, we had some controversy there and our president correctly pointed out. But the point is here in the twisted topic, yes, it takes some doing, it takes some time to get used to it, Amina. Here in your interaction, Shihaz was more forthcoming and accommodating, I could see. And for you, Amina, all I could say is get into the role, right? And just interact. It's okay. Slowly it will come to you, but do not shy away from speaking. If you're into that, get into that role. Nobody is going to pass any judgments or tease you about, oh, you went on a date to eat crab, nothing. You just have to get into it and start speaking. Shihaz is becoming quite an old hand at it, I would say, or becoming very, very experienced. What first twisted topic with the ice and glasses, and second with the crabs. All the best to you, buddy, for your future projects with the table topics and twisted ones. And the last one, Yuvraj, awesome that when you came in the second time, deer in the headlight moment, because our twisted topic master, first time she called you, you went blank, so camera was switched off, but second time around, she caught you and brought you back and then threw the question to you. But kudos to you, you picked up the topic and you attempted it very well. What was in your favor was, it is true, you have that experience of fear in public speaking. You have that rather. And best is the forum is here. You are on this forum. It was all very complimentary and in sync with what the question was being asked. But the positive is you stood there. I mean, you took up the stance and you answered the topic. While you were speaking about it, I could see a subtle structure forming there because you explained the symptoms. What happens to you when you see a crowd or 2-3 people standing in front of you, exactly what happens to you. You explained that. You explained the situations, different situation it occurs and how you would react to that, or what is your first response to that. And then the best part, you offered a solution as well. Because any speech, when it is solution oriented, it always makes an impact. And since you are a new speaker, it was very endearing the way it all came out because you had a personal anecdote to it. So wish you all the best and take up more speeches always, or more opportunities to speak. You will do really very well. With that, thank you, and back to you, TME.
Thank you, Toastmaster Suchita. And now we go on to the Roastmaster, Toastmaster Dave. Can you please present your roast?
Thank you, Toastmaster. Good evening, everybody. And it's time for the roast. We started at 7:36. Toastmaster Naveed read out the Sadhana terms, mission and vision, everything. The beginning of the meeting was kind of uneventful. Everything was more or less going according to plan, I would say. The president spoke to us about Toastmasters International Conference coming up, registration. He also reminded us to contribute articles to the newsletter. And then suddenly something happened. This could have been the effect of, because he told us a couple of times that he was cutting grass. I don't think maybe it's an activity that he indulges in very frequently at home. So he said, I was cutting grass. I was cutting grass. I don't know what he was cutting. It sounded like there was something a little more bigger involved than just grass. And then he said, could I shave? Could I shove? Could I shush? And then something happened in his tongue. And finally it came out, could I share the screen? And then it was all right from there onwards. I believe the Missouri Sun did that. Information. Yes. Guest introductions were done. And since we had only one person, President, took his own sweet time in understanding a little bit more about Mr. Yuvraj. They had a conversation for about 10 minutes. No problem. Well, no offense meant to our guest, but I believe our club president really likes you. Then, of course, business meeting, the business session of our club meetings is turning out to be quite the thing these days. Everybody is contributing, interacting, getting engaged, and there were motions. We moved from the floor and voting. It's a nice step in the right direction. But this time we managed the time better, in my opinion. We kind of stuck to the topics and the discussions were more structured. But everybody was so caught up in this whole thing that even our guest also went ahead and took part in the voting, which is okay. I kind of expected him to even maybe move a motion from the floor because that was so engaged. Then came Toastmaster Katrak, who was the TME of the evening. And did you notice this? For almost every single meeting, when he's on screen, he would never show us his complete face. He would only show 1/4 of the screen. It looks like, you're looking at the image of a person who's drowning in water. It's like here. Okay, it's this part. And then over here, this is how he's constantly in the meeting. You have so much of space out here, right? Over here. That is completely wasted. And he's somewhere out here. And I always used to wonder why is he hiding? Then we realized he's eating. Poor thing. He arrived late. He's eating. When it comes to a glass of water, well, that he couldn't hide because he cannot just go under the table and drink. That's one task he's yet to acquire. So that he just held it like that, and he went glug, glug, glug. But he was eating, poor thing. And I completely misunderstood him. And in case you don't understand what I'm trying to talk about, hold on just for a second. Yeah, there you are. I have put that in the chat box for all of you to see, to understand what I'm talking about. And we also understood, he gave us a very, very clear explanation of from where does he get inspiration to find the theme of the meeting. This is from his own personal experience. Because pretty much everything in his life is centered around his spouse or his wife, his purpose in life, the futility of it, everything is centered around his wife. He just can't talk about anything unless and until it's connected to his wife or somebody else's wife for that matter. Then came, well, I really loved the way, you gave the examples of how something could be defined by people, how it was defined by Shuchita, Shannon, and Rishi. That was hilarious. Then he talked about his fears, flowers and bananas. I never heard of that combination. Usually that kind of stuff goes into a salad or an edible arrangement. Flowers and bananas, what happened to you when you were a child? I'm curious, what did a banana do to you when you were small so that you're scared of bananas? I just can't wrap my head around it. That's the only thing that would bother me throughout the night for sure. And also it came, we had this little, it was like more of like a phrase, flowers and bananas, speeches and surgeries. Then he didn't forget to talk to us about the changes in the agenda. That was nicely done. And all this while happening, while he was here, there was somebody else on the screen at the same time. And that was Toastmaster Mahmoud. She's backing back, coming closer and, adjusting her on the cam. So these two people are constantly doing things in front of the camera. On a serious note, I understand why Toastmaster Mahmoud wanted to make sure that, she was presented properly in front of the camera. But when it is happening on screen, while we are looking at the screen, it can be a little bit distracting because I'm constantly looking at Toastmaster Katrak playing hide and seek and you doing this. So sometimes we'll have to do that maybe before the meeting starts and make sure that we are in the proper place. Oh, well, Toastmaster the evening, Katrak also had another role to play. He became the spokesperson for all the cockroaches in this whole world. He wanted to make sure that they are friendly, they are full of protein, they are tasty, they are crunchy. I don't know. If he had gone on for another 5 minutes, he would have asked one of the Toastmasters to marry one. And Amina was screaming in her seats because he ruined it for her tonight. I don't think she can eat anything in the future that is good to eat for somebody of her age. You really ruined it for her. Like, for example, if you have a problem with a phobia, Katrak is the kind of person who would deal with it in the most inhuman way. For example, if you're afraid of heights, Katrak would be the kind of guy who will take you to the edge of a cliff and push you down the cliff. That's how he deals with your phobias. Fantastic. What a way to, that's what I call help. And about 8:27, finally, we had the first role player introduced. And then I was thinking, oh man, this is going to be a long night. And he also couldn't leave the Americans aside. Come on, what's up with that? Americans need a separate word for everything. And I understand why he said so, because for us Indians, everything is a thing. I took this thing and I went to that thing, I couldn't find that thing, this thing, that thing. So I understand the problem behind it. It's a cultural thing. Toastmaster Sunita, fear, that is a limiting factor. Well, I love that thought. One of our largest fear is often the reason behind our greatest growth. Fantastic thought. Very well connected to the theme as well. And about 8:40, we had Toastmaster Maunga who stepped up on the screen to deliver the icebreaker speech. I don't have any words to explain. This is definitely one of the best icebreaker speeches. And I have said this earlier, and I think the reason is that every Toastmaster in our club sees these icebreaker speeches or the other speeches delivered, and they put in a lot of effort. So your first speech is turning out to be a masterpiece, and everybody is making kind of a habit out of it. That's fantastic. Then came, well, while this was going on, I saw that in the chat box, Katrak, he asked this question to almost all of us. Have you wet your bed? Have you wet your pants? Have you wet your bed? Have you wet your pants? Are you selling adult nappies or something as a side business? I don't understand. And no, everybody said no, no, no. And then he had to ensure that this happens to all of us. So you know what he did? He went ahead and said, drink more water before you go to bed. Drink water. He put that in the chat box too, like it is some kind of a life-saving advice. Oh boy, what's happening with these surgeons these days? Time taken. Well, I just have a doubt here because Toastmaster Mohammed, I'm not sure whether the timer read out the timing taken by the speakers. So I was just curious how much time was taken by Toastmaster Mohammed. Amina, do you mind? Do you recollect what was the time taken by Mohammed?
Yeah.
6.5 minutes.
Yeah.
6.5 minutes.
6 minutes. Yeah, 6 minutes, 21 seconds.
21 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just keep my attention. Then, Toastmaster Nisha, wonderful use of props. Well, the evaluators had done a great job, so I wouldn't go to that. Then Toastmaster Katrak came up again, and this time he was about gender discrimination. He was not happy with Jack and Jill. He wanted to make sure that everything that you say in English has to have a masculine and a feminine tense. Jill of all trades and mistress of none. Is that what you had in mind? We'll have to have Zoom mistress and Toast mistress, and I don't know, all that maybe from here onwards. Table topics, Toastmaster Neha, once again, a nice mix of topics. We all enjoyed it. Once again, it was very well evaluated by Toastmaster Sujita, so I wouldn't go there. Evaluators, we had 2 of them, and they both did fantastic evaluations because they did they had a very analytical approach, and they're also very encouraging. Sujit's job, and Toastmaster Katrak once again couldn't hide his curiosity. He wanted to know what does it mean by an under a writer, because he knows a few words which starts with under, and he understands the rest of it by adding the second word to it. And here, under and writer seem like a difficult combination. So he went, what do you mean by under writer? And Sujit understands his problem. He said, mind your goddamn business. And that was it. But that didn't stop Dr. Katrak from asking curious questions, because later he went on and asked about, are you afraid of your wife? Are you afraid of your husband? I'm not sure what exactly is the purpose behind all this, but I believe there is a reason to it. Toastmaster Nishat, while all this was going on, very politely, his polite interjunction came, could you please vote for the table topics? But that plea was only considered much, much later. And then we also found out that what kind of videos do Dr. Katrak watches during his pastime. And I'm sure that they don't exactly fall under the educational videos, because I'm sure that a lot of people would have Googled a lot of stuff by now. Evaluation started by about 9:15, and I was wondering, oh, is this going to end now? Yes, but they all did that very well. Technology whisperer. We all learned something new about Ravi. He is a technology whisperer, and I'm pretty sure that if he had heard about this, Dr. Katrak would have said something like, I'm a body parts modification mechanic or something like that. Make every term, make every profession sound really cool. The voting, this is a small suggestion from my side. I believe before the voting starts, we need to tell the audience that the voting for the best speaker and evaluator is only allowed if you're a Toastmaster, and voting for the table topic is open to all, including guests. The hour counter report by Toastmaster Shiraz was very comprehensive. And however, you left the president out of that. Okay, if you had taken in the president's address, I'm sure you would have got some material. You remember that part? And then the word master and grammarian report by Toastmaster Shannon once again is fantastic. We don't get that kind of analytical, detailed grammarian's report very often. And the blushing also helped, I guess. It's quite second. It happens quite often in our class, especially when you're a non-native English speaker. We tend to forget these articles and prepositions. We didn't leave any stone unturned. Table topic evaluation by Shuchita was, again, like I said at the beginning, it was very analytical. And I love this when someone says, well, this is one area where you could improve, and that person gives you an example. That's how you help someone, not by simply pointing out an area of improvement, but actually providing you with an example. And in our club, especially twister topics, table topic, it's like an open canvas. Each table topic master or twister topic master comes up with something unique, and it also pushes us to push our boundaries, lose our inhibitions, and try something new. So my request is just the same as she said: try and explore and experiment. Lose your inhibitions. This is the only place where you can do that. One last suggestion is that Toastmaster the evening, the theme that you gave us was entertaining and hilarious, and all that effort collecting information to everyone and all that was fantastic. Only suggestion is we could have managed the time a little bit better. And Zoom Master, Toastmaster Nishad, wonderful job. But please go ahead and mute non-speakers. If at all you notice that somebody's microphone is switched on, just go ahead and mute them. You have all the authority to do that. All in all, what a wonderful meeting. Totally enjoyed it. And if this is the kind of speeches we have during every meeting, that itself is a big enough reason to attend every single meeting, not that 1 point that we get for attendance. This is the reason why we should be attending. We are not attending meetings for points. We are in it for the experience. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening. President.
Thank you. I think I will just give it on to the president, and the president can end the meeting.
1 second, sorry. Nishad, can we please have the voting for the best role player also?
Yes, sure. 1 second. We have so many role players.
Okay, I'll go ahead and while that's going on, I'll go ahead and wrap up. Yuvraj, you have 40 seconds to tell us how you felt about our meeting today. But you have to unmute yourself, yeah.
Well, it's been honor to be in the Toastmasters Club today, and it was my first. And then I have gained a lot of, confidence to talk to the people, and I wish to have this kinds of session more in future. And I would like to thank Nadil, who was the guy told me about Toastmasters Club, and then just because of him, I'm here today. Thank you so much for having.
We always encourage guests to try us out.
Mm-hmm.
And then like by the third meeting, if you feel like this is the place for you, then we can arrange for you to join. And actually, that's another thing we'll be doing is we have a membership drive that happens twice a year. And it's starting these days, and it's going to, by the end of September, then we will pay the dues for the next 6 months. So there's a lot you can get from Toastmasters, just basically gaining the confidence, like you said, of speaking in front of people. So
yeah, and I can see myself like see it's been almost 2.5 hours, and then I can see myself like I'm feeling confident to talk with now we are 13 people, and then I feel like there is a change in myself within 2.5 hours.
That's good.
I feel very great.
That's good. Thank you so much.
No.
Okay, so before we get to the best roles, the best speaker awards, a reminder that I will send the link for the internet for international, so that we can, if anybody wants to join. If you're new to Toastmasters, that's really something to participate in. But, so you can see some of the best talents in the world, and we can learn from these speakers. And it's online. And there's a membership drive happening. And now we've got any other announcements before we start the announce awards? Okay, sounds good. So let me try to do this. Best speaker, and these were really close votes. They were really difficult to, to determine. Oops. Can you share your screen, please? Can I share my screen? Can I co-host? Nishad? You could. Okay, sounds good. Okay. Okay. Best speaker goes to Momita. You see the, oh, I froze. No, I froze. Uh-oh. Yeah. Okay. You know, with this laptop, I better not share. Can you, Nishad, can you get me off of sharing now? Yeah, I think I have to, yeah. I have to, I just have to announce it. Best speaker was Momita. Best evaluator, another close call. The guy with the blue shirt. Professor Ravi. The best table topic speaker from near the Himalayas and a guest tonight is Yuvraj. If that doesn't give you a boost of confidence, I don't know what will. And the best role player who had the longest part of the meeting tonight at the very end was the roast master. Sorry, I don't. Yeah, I can't share the things, but that's okay. Guys, great meeting. We have to do something about time, so we stick closer to the 2 hours. That's a definite. So we'll have to work on that as XCOM. We're going to do a picture group photo with the mics on.
The camera's on, you mean?
Well, might as well have the mics on too, because you know when you hear people laughing and stuff, then you smile.
Sujit, if you're there.
Who's taking the picture?
We are all posing.
I'll
You're
take a
all ready?
screenshot.
Okay.
Smile.
But can we have Dr. Katrak a little bit closer to the camera?
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I used to always think I was a white guy. And then some years back, I was really going through some hard times financially. And one of the local guys brought me this food and stuff. He said, I think this is what you red people eat. And I said, red people? What do you mean red people? And then I looked at my pictures, like now I have a red face. I'm not white, I'm red.
Because you were cutting grass, maybe.
Yeah, from the side, yes.
And my conclusion is, he said it's early morning, and then he was cutting the grass early morning, and
No, I had to because it got hot.
well, that
Yeah. Okay.
I guess that's been Shannon's hobby since he's got to the States.
No, well, I have to because when it rains, you can't cut the grass. So you have to wait for the grass to dry. And it rained yesterday. And it's supposed to rain later today. So I had to do it in the middle.
Okay, guys, it's already too late. So good night.
Yeah.
Good night. Good night,
See you
everyone.
next time from the
Thank you.
UAE.
Good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Safe trip.
Bye-bye.
Safe trip, Shannon.
I'll see you.
Yeah,
See
have
ya.
a safe trip, Shannon.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Okay, bye-bye. Nice teacher.